great sales managers aren't great because they close the most deals. They're not, okay? They're like a sports coach. They're great because they push their team to achieve their goals every single day. I've been in sales for 19 years. So I've been in many different sales environments, from telco through to SaaS and many different verticals across the SaaS ecosystem. Philosophy gets built up over a number of years. Of course it does. But coming in as VP of sales to different organizations, it's important to have a vision and a mission and a philosophy that you go by, that you work with your team on a daily basis so you can achieve your goals. So I split it down into 5 key pillars, Josephine, which I try and bring that into all meetings, and how we can shape the way the sales team think and grow together as a team. So the first one is trust. Key thing for me is building trust across the team. But coming in as a VP of sales to different organizations, you have to build the trust from the outset. Of course you do. Also treating people how you would like to be treated, and to continue to keep an eye on delivering something of value. Because if you're coming into an organization, you're taking generally over a team that's been managed before. And if you can showcase that you can deliver value and build that trust across the team, that is imperative to do so. Okay. So that's the first pillar. Authenticity is also the second one. Always be yourself. Don't be someone you're not. Integrity is key to building a winning sales team. So, when you do this, it will attract the right energy from the team to achieve both their personal and in turn team goals. Okay. The third pillar is accountability. Again, integral to hold everyone accountable. I'm accountable for everything I do, and the team should be also. But if you drive this into a coaching methodology, it's very, very key. Now, great sales managers aren't great because they close the most deals. They're not. Okay. They're like a sports coach. They're great because they push their team to achieve their goals every single day. Okay. Now, we're all accountable for our actions, and we should all be responsible for them, good or bad. So driving accountability across the team. People just look at revenue numbers, Josephine, but that's not always the case. I look at a number of traits, productivity, work ethic, and there should be no excuses. Because if we're driving towards that accountability culture, then the only way to do that moving forward, there's going to be failure. But if we're all accountable for those actions, we're going to go and achieve our goals. Okay.
Like the poster in the back.
Like my poster in the back, which you will not wake up to be mediocre every day. So any questions on those? Because I've got a couple of more to share with you.
Yes, so the first is you have to build trust. The second is accountability. And then the third is just be real, be yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Accountability, transparency with the team, transparency with vision and goals is the next one. Because when you run a team, people want to understand that what you're talking about has that vision. But when you're transparent with the team, you get that back. And it's very, very important that the team can have their voice. If you're transparent with them, they will be transparent with you, and their ideas help build a winning sales team. So, weekly basis, I run through transparency, run through team meetings. What are we looking to do as an organization? Where we are as a team? How we can grow as a team? And with the team having their voice in those meetings as well, we grow together. At the end of the day, it's important to do that. And that all swings around to culture. If you instill a coaching methodology and teamwork, collaboration across a team, it's a winning culture. So, in a snapshot, they're the 5 key pillars that I work towards daily. And that's how I believe, and what I've taken throughout my career, working with some really good mentors over my career. Not always, but, in the past 7 or 8 years I have, and how I can build those across my sales organization.
Really great. So Pete, can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by adding value as a leader?
So adding value as a leader is simple. My job is to make people successful and help them be successful. Okay. And how I do that is coaching and mentoring people to achieve their goals. If they fail, It's because of me and the way we are doing things. As simple as that. So, I've been under people before in the past where micromanagers have gone into play, and I do not believe in that approach, because at the end of the day, you should be there to help people achieve their goals. Nothing better than in management than helping someone be successful. And it's not telling them what to do, because you have to instill this culture that they can do it themselves, but you're there to guide them. Because if you do everything for someone, they're never going to learn. But if you enable them and coach them through processes, that's where a sales leader brings true value. And of course, not all sales leaders, but a lot of sales leaders have been in sales throughout their career. So across the enterprise where we sell into, it's a difficult sell. So I can bring value that way in coaching people across the sales ecosystem, across the sales process. But my job is to make and help the team be successful. And that's how I bring value.
Great answer. Okay. So Pete, let's talk about metrics and how you track whether a rep or a sales team are doing really well. So do you have any primary metrics that you go by?
Yeah, it's a good question. We talk about the A players, okay? People always say A, B, and C players.
Yeah.
And there are any metrics I track. Now, everyone will track revenue, but for me, it's not just about revenue. So go back to when you're looking to find an A player. Let's go back to an interview process, shall we say? How do you find them? So I work on a scoring methodology when I'm interviewing candidates. At the end of the day, what we're looking for is coachability, curiosity, work ethic, and intelligence, amongst others. And I would score them based on that. If someone shows that they are coachable, that's the biggest thing for me, because if we can instill that coaching methodology across the coaching ecosystem, then we can help them to be successful. But it goes both ways. We can coach, we can mentor, they can be driven. However, how we differentiate that from a B player, they could be coachable. However, they haven't got that drive and determination to succeed. So it's not just revenue, because you can come into an organization and you see it a lot, that someone's got all the best accounts. It happens a lot. And they've been hitting their number for years. But to bring a C player to a B player to an A player, the key thing for me is work ethic, coachability, drive, and determination. And that comes with laser focus and execution.
Right, okay. That makes a lot of sense, because you can have a lot of drive to succeed, but if you don't have curiosity or intelligence, it's hard to transform them into an A player.
It is, and people say, well, how do you understand that throughout an interview process? And I'll ask similar questions all the time to understand how they've dealt with certain situations in the past and how they would take to coaching. And you can ask the right questions to understand that from people. But they're the key traits, because we live in a very competitive world with finding right talent across the SaaS ecosystems. A lot of great companies out there. So do you want to go for the A player every single time and bring them into an organization? Just because they were doing well at one organization doesn't mean they're going to be doing well at your organization. Or do you bring someone in who hasn't quite got that 20 years of experience, but has got those key traits? Now, I know where I'd go with the person you can coach and mold and drive value to help them be successful moving forward. Because I've seen it happen over and over again. Companies will go, well, we'll get them from a competitor because they were doing really well, and they've come to the next company and they failed because they were relying on a set of accounts that were built up or given to them. And when you put them into a new ecosystem, it's not as easy just to take the accounts from the competition. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but that's the way I look at it.
Right, okay. So do you think that you're able to spot whether someone's an A player or B player? Is this just in the interview process, or is it throughout their career and throughout their journey?
You can spot it throughout the interview process, but then you have to give them time and understand if they're going to apply the methodologies that you help them with it and put in place. And everyone's got different traits of an A player salesperson, but I can spot generally by speaking to someone and working with them when I come into an organization and see their drive and determination and their laser-like focus to succeed. Then you can spot the A player. However, if the numbers don't match, then you've got to ask the question why. And it's up for me as the sales leader across the team to dig into that. So revenue and competitiveness and the drive to do things does not always add up, because they've been maybe sometimes mismanaged. So it's a challenging one to uncover, but it can be done. But there's nothing better than taking someone who is classed as a B player, who could be an A player, and you get into that position.
Okay. Can you talk me through an example of how you would do this? Because I'm thinking in terms of, like, if we were to repeat this process and have a process that's quite like tangible and it's like a set thing, what would the structure be?
Well, look, everyone's got their weaknesses, you, me, everyone. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you can uncover weaknesses and key traits that someone is good at or someone is bad at. So you get that from sitting down and having meetings with these people. And a lot of this has been done in the past with other companies, is building out a individual matrix. So what are they good at? What are they not good at? And honing in on the skills that they're not good at. Because every skill can be coached. Okay. It's up to the individual to want to be able to learn. And that's where coachability comes in. But if you manage to understand your team, your employees, aware, and then be open and honest with them, and I'll talk about some of my weaknesses. We're not all perfect, and how we have solved those in the past. Everyone throughout an interview process will go, well, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And some people find that hard to answer, but everyone's got them. And if you can work on those weaknesses for a matrix and weekly, monthly coaching sessions, then that's how tangibly you can make people better, or help people be better.
And it kind of starts with you being honest about what your weaknesses are and having that culture where you're able to say what you're good at and bad at, and so you can work on it and improve it.
Absolutely. And it goes back again to the 5 pillars, which is transparency. Be transparent with each other. Be authentic. Because if I'm coming into an organization and not being authentic and don't come with integrity, then people aren't going to open up. And it takes time to open up people if you're coming into an organization, but when you do, and they're open and honest and transparent with you, that's how you then can coach the team.
Okay, Brill. So Pete, can you talk me through, right, you've got these A players and B players. How do you know whether something is a individual weakness or a team weakness? How do you spot that?
It's a good question. It goes back to what I think I've just said. There's a lot of people don't do enough one-to-ones. They don't have enough team meetings. We live in a 2-dimensional world now, because we sit on Zoom and Teams every single day. I've seen it before. Management will say, okay, we've onboarded you and away you go. We'll have a weekly catch up on pipeline and that will be it. Okay. But how then are you going to spot someone's weakness? Because it's not all about deals. So what I implemented when we went through the pandemic, first and foremost, because usually you'd be in the office, are daily sprint calls. You have your weekly sales call. Everyone does that, but I do one a little bit differently. I don't just talk about pipeline. It's a collaborative effort across the team. These daily sprint calls are key. What went well yesterday? What didn't go well yesterday? What were the objections you found out? What did we do well? What did we learn from our customers? So that's not answering your question directly, but that's enabling them to understand if some people have got weakness personally, and if there's a team weakness in collaboration and communication. So individual weakness can be assessed by one-to-ones. Team weakness can be assessed by how well the team are collaborating and communicating together. Because we can all sell as individuals, Josephine, but you will always be better when you sell as a team. And that's what I try and solve when I come into an organization.
See, that's a massive problem, Pete. Like, sellers, they're really good at hitting their number, and you don't really want to do too many things that take away from that. How do you get everyone to work as a team and have that collaboration? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I like that one. So I try and step back. When you onboard someone new in an organization, you will onboard them, of course, but you'll bring in members of the team. So you'll bring in parts of the different sales team. Let's work together. And you'll encourage them to reach out. Please reach out to other members of the team. And they don't, subconsciously, they don't understand what that's doing, but that's making teamwork. So I'm not going to say, I'll say, look, I'm not going to set the meeting up for you. I'd expect and want you to be able to work together. Reach out to so-and-so and they'll be happy to help. Before those people come in, I'll say, we're going to get someone else on board. This is the person. You've either been in the interview process or I've mentioned they're going to be coming on board. Help them. And if they're not going to help them, then I'll ask them why. But if they are, then that instills a team culture. It's all about collaboration. It's easy around the coffee machine in an office. We don't have that anymore. We all miss those days. Then you can get in a meeting room, or you'll go in early in the office in the morning, or sometimes, you'll get together on a Thursday evening as a group. It's not happening. So these daily calls and encouraging people to work together across countries and as a team, across cultures as well, because I look after an international team. We've got a French team, we've got people in South Africa, we've got people in the UK. And when I came in, maybe you need to cross-pollinate more that team, and it's working great. If you do that and bring everyone together, just because they have a different culture, it doesn't matter. It drives more success across the team because there's experience, there's new people coming in with new ideas, and you know yourself. It's easy to say working as a team is better than working individually, but I see it all the time when I go into organizations. There'll be people who want to just sell themselves and not work as that team, but I encourage it, and it works better because those A players can give so much information to the B and C players, and if we enable that, then there's going to be more A players. Yeah, and that's the part of leadership. Is another thing for me is creating new leaders, because that's my job as well, to create good people, give my knowledge, and if I can do that, then I've done my job.
I love that. Okay, so that goes on to like cross-pollination. You do that by making sure people work in a team and they're collaborating, they're giving their ideas and helping the new people.
Absolutely, and that's done by the sprint calls I have every single morning with everyone from the team, because you can have these long 2-hour meetings, which I don't agree with, honestly. No one wants to sit on a Teams or Zoom call for 2 hours. If they said they did, then I'd be concerned.
For 2 hours.
We've all been there. We've all been there. But quick 15, 20-minute sprint calls. Don't do it every morning. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, Fridays. You've got other meetings to do as well, and a Monday morning sales meeting, and that's a collaboration session. The Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, all about talking. Everyone, we go around the room. Everyone has their say, what they've been up to, what they're doing today, what went well yesterday. They share ideas with each other, and I'll sit there and I'll be quiet and let them speak. And I'll add my comments here or there to keep the conversation going. When you see it working with teams from different countries collaborating and sharing, that's how you cross-pollinate a sales team and then make them successful.
Great. That's a really good way to think about it. It seems really difficult knowing that you've got an international team and there are cultural differences, but there's a lot of psychology behind it, so that's really cool. Last question for you, Pete.
Absolutely.
So, if you were in a room full of sales leaders, what's that one burning question that you would want an answer to?
That I would like an answer to from a team full of sales leaders. Something
that you've been thinking about maybe for a long while, something that you're focused on that, the audience watching this should also be thinking about?
I would ask them, I'd turn it around and ask another question. I'd ask them, if there was one thing your team would say they'd like to change around how you run it, what would that be? So I'd turn it around completely. Not that I want to know something. Everyone can go out and read books and, take different information from other sales leaders. That's great. But what I try and instill into my sessions and one-to-ones is, how can we help you? I'm always giving you feedback, team, one-to-ones, but how can I make your journey better? And if you get that feedback, that enables you to grow that person and that team. So I would ask the sales leaders, how would they want to change the way you do things? And I can guarantee 90% of them wouldn't know the answer. You have to be quite aware of your leadership style, don't you? And like the positives to it and also the negatives as well. Yeah, look, you come with energy. Me personally, I come in with drive, determination, and energy. As I say earlier, everyone's, I expect accountability and passion and execution. But I get that in a way that how I collaborate with people, it's in a normal manner. At the end of the day, I want to be able to work as a team, all on the same level. We're a group. Without that team mentality, we're not going to do as well if we're doing it individually. There's different management styles, and I'm not saying one's better than the other. For me, mine works. For others, it maybe wouldn't. So, that's the way I look at things.